the pleasure of introducing our next speaker. She's originally from Beijing. Her name is Rachel Zhao. She currently leads the core consumer experience group at Yelp, where she supports 5 teams to deliver features with delightful user experience while balancing infra investment and business value. Rachel started as a software engineer at Yelp and led 2 other engineering teams prior this role. Rachel enjoys exploring new places to eat and learning about travel hacking. So let's give a warm welcome to Rachel.
Thank you. My name is Rachel. As you know, I just want to share a little bit of my personal adventure to leadership. I put work in progress here because the journey never ends, really. But I want to share some of the learning I have along the way here, and hopefully that can shed some light if you're considering leadership in the tech world. And so, who I am, I think. A lot of that you already heard. I really love eating. This is me in real life every day. Grew up in Beijing. I moved to Canada, Canadians out here, to study at University of Waterloo, where if you're Canadian, you know how vicious those Canadian geese are, standing on top of a bus. And then I came here to San Francisco to work at Yelp. And what I'm doing right now is I'm heading the core consumer experience group at Yelp. What that really means is, a sneak peek. Oh my goodness. Some screenshot is missing here, but I'm responsible for kind of the core consumer features you use: discovering, searching, connecting with business, the core screens that you will see on your mobile app. And as mentioned, there's a group of 5 engineering teams that are responsible for those areas. Well, now you saw the baby me before Yelp. I did a series of internships during those years, 6 to be exact, to complete my undergraduate study. Through these internships and different roles here, I learned a lot. I learned how to work, and most importantly, I learned more about myself, what I like, what's important to me. So what I learned is, I think as job seekers, we often overlook the perspective of culture. We put a lot of attention to kind of the work itself, the brand of the company, and so on. But the culture is the people you're working with day in, day out, and they're really, really crucial part of your everyday happiness. I learned from working in 6 different roles that culture is essential. So finding a company with good culture is really important. Second is personal impact. Also is important to me. I work with bigger companies where they have really, really good perks and interesting work, but essentially your personal impact is really, really small. And to me, that wasn't fulfilling enough. And I want to find somewhere there's enough support, but also has space for you to make an impact on the company. And finally, I learned that to kind of do any job, you have to be proactive and be very good at communication, which is sometimes opposite of what people think of software engineers. You just write code, right? But no, code is another way of communication, and how do you do that well, and how do you be proactive along the process is really important. So with that, I stepped into Yelp as a backend engineer on the internationalization team. And I was growing as an engineer, and as a part of our quarterly career conversation here with my manager said, you demonstrate some really good mentorship, really good communication skills, some leadership skills. Have you considered management? And to me, it's like, me, manager? Never thought about that. And I was also thinking, I did program manager before, and I like that. Maybe I'll consider that. But manager sounds really political to me. It sounds like it's about manipulation, and it's not fun. I'm not good at that. But luckily, I get to attend Grace Hopper with Yelp that year. How many of you have heard of or been to Grace Hopper? Yeah, some of you. So it's a large celebration of women in technology, and they had this really great panel about leadership, where you get to sit with kind of product leaders, engineering leaders, and talk about what leadership really is. And that shed a lot of light on what management actually is, and make me have an open mind towards that, and told my manager, yeah, I will consider that. And being very supportive manager at that time, he gave me kind of really challenging projects to run with, where I was working as both the PM and EM to launch Yelp in Hong Kong. And through that process, I learned that actually the EM perspective fits my personality and skill set better. And so I decided to work towards that. An opportunity came up, and I transitioned to the management position on my team to manage internationalization. It was, I know transition is hard, but I was really lucky. I was a relatively smooth transition. I had really supportive team members. It's a very familiar domain to me technically, and I have a lot of guidance from a manager who is also an expert there. But essentially, it is still a new job. It kind of became a coach instead of a player on the field. You have to learn to define goals and success for your team, not just for yourself. Balance delivery versus investment. There's a lot of logistic and planning around management. But I was learning a lot and was really, really enjoying this role for, I think, a year and a half, until one day, there was a change of company strategy. So Yelp at that moment decided to focus on domestic growth instead of international growth. And so that was a really, really good business decision. But that means my team really doesn't have value to continue as an engineering team. So even though it was a sound business decision, on the execution side, it's actually quite painful as a relatively new manager to handle that. But that really led to accelerated learning. You kind of learn about, there's a lot of ambiguity and there's a lot of uncertainty in the room. How do you be the anchor for your team? How do you restore that clarity for your team to figure out what is the next step? You also learn how to ramp down a team, how to do it responsibly. And through that, I also learned a lot of gratitude. My manager and mentor at that time, even in a time of sort of crisis, gave me a lot of support and spent time with me. And then finally, the outcome was good. We finished the quarters of roadmap, what we set out to do, and there was another team that needed a lot of people, and as a team, we worked really well, so a majority of the team actually transitioned to a new team together, which led to my second manager gig to lead the search user experience team, which I think from the name you already know we talk about search experience. It was just a very new domain to me, actually. It's a new problem space. You're much more user-facing, a lot more UX knowledge in that field, a lot more client-facing. We do a lot of mobile development, while my background is completely in the back end. And from a people perspective, you're also meeting a lot of new people, new friends. They have no context on how my old team was running, as opposed to my old teammates. You have to build trust with them from scratch, and there's completely different set of stakeholders that I need to build relationships with from beginning. But through that, I was able to grow with the team. So the team kind of grew rapidly. We were able to deliver drastically different user experience with the additional member of the team. And the team also grew from 6 to 19 engineers, and to a degree that I cannot physically possibly manage all of these people. I was growing as a manager. Now I have confidence that even through a very different domain, different people, I'm able to successfully lead a team. That leads to me thinking about, okay, where do I want to grow in the next step in my career? So I start writing down a lot of thoughts of what I love, what I don't like. If there's any role I can take at Yelp, what would that be? And what are the qualifications for that? And start setting really deliberate goals to kind of develop those skills so that if that opportunity came up, I'll be ready to take that role. Which led to where I am currently. There's an opportunity came up to manage this group, Core Experience, with 5 teams that includes managing managers. I think a large part of how I landed on this role also is because I wrote, this is something I want to do. I'm passionate about user experience, and I want to try out, second level management, more senior management. And if I haven't really wrote it out clearly and share with my mentor or manager, I probably wouldn't get it because they wouldn't know clearly what I want to do. And with this new role, I'm still learning a lot. There's a lot of new challenges. You're forming alignment with 50 engineers, 8 product managers, and so on. It's a very different game. You're learning to develop strategy and vision for the team as well as a roadmap. You're learning to context share with all of these people that don't have a sense of what you're thinking about, what your priorities are day in, day out. So I'm still learning and loving it so far. And finally, I guess I'm missing a slide here. Some lessons, actually, a lot of lessons is really, really similar to what Hayao has talked about earlier. The first lesson is really about owning your own path. It's not your manager giving you that promotion. It's not the circumstances that creates your career path. It's the decisions that you are making along the way there. And second is leadership. It doesn't need to start with a leadership position. Like, you don't need to be a manager to lead. You can lead with every task you have on hand. Show how you're taking that ownership, how you're leading an effort and not just people. And third is kind of help other people to help you. Like, if you want to grow, you want to get a promotion or something, be considerate. Think about how others can best help you in these circumstances, and write down what you want, help them with their tasks, and so that they can better help you out later on. And fourth, I think is really, don't forget to lead with a sense of creativity. A lot of people think that management is all about processes, all about structure, but actually just any presentation, any team meeting, any communication, any channel that you can have to show some creative and personality along the way, people really, really appreciate that, and that creates a culture that people can look forward to working at every day. And that kind of summarizes my learnings of Venture to Leadership, and thanks for listening.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. Even though I am nowhere near ready to be a leader, you've definitely inspired me to start taking initiative and start researching and practicing those leadership skills. So it looks like we have time for 1 or 2 questions for Rachel. So do we have anybody that would like to start us off with the first question? Yes. Raise your hand first.
Hi, Rachel. Thank you. So I'm also an individual contributor that's interested in a leadership role. By the way, we're hiring. And I'm interested to know, what is one skill set that you think was really valuable that you had as an engineer that helped you be a good engineering manager? And what was one that was kind of a steep learning curve for you?
I think what I had definitely is communication. Communication, a lot of part is about being considerate. Think about who your stakeholders are. Think about who the users are when you're communicating, even writing an email. And so having that clarity, be concise, make sure people understand you is, I think, the crucial skill set and anyone can develop as an individual. What is the most challenging? I think it definitely is coaching. When you're changing from, okay, you have a very high standard for yourself, to now you have to make sure people understand where you're coming from and meet that standard, is a difficult transition, because you feel, am I even qualified? There's a little bit of imposter syndrome playing there. So that transition, I think it was the most unnatural for me. But luckily there are a lot of really great training, good workshop out there to help you with that.